Okay, somehow I cut off the video, so this is a continuation of the previous video. Okay, so recapping, it says that Israel are haughty, and they have stretched forth necks with wanting eyes, walking. So the wanting eyes and walking and mincing, right? Let's look at this word mincing, right? See what that says there. To trip with short steps. Okay, so you get the picture. Flirtatiousness that, or the empowerment that many women use their physical beauty to manipulate, right, the situation. Especially a man who's weak can be manipulated with flattery, with wanting eyes and mincing feet, right? But when you mature as a man, you really realize that, you can't live by that, being controlled, manipulated by all of the beauty of the woman. I think Proverbs says something about, by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, right? When you get older, you recognize, after falling prey to that game in your youthful years, when you become older, you're not moved by that. Okay, let's continue. So he said, mincing, and they go and making a tinkling with their feet. That word tinkling is what? Okay, where did I go here? I hit something, lost my place here. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, yeah, so there it is. And mincing and tinkling, that's the word I wanted, tinkling. To tie with fetters, but used denominatively as to put on anklets. Okay. So basically, the Most High tire of the Israelite women who utilize their beauty, not to draw the man to Yah, to draw the man to them, right? A man is supposed to be drawn to a woman by her inner person, not her physical exterior. And that's how we end up messing up in relationships, because many of us pick mates because of the physical attraction. Okay, which is dangerous, because that physical attraction can cause you to lose out with the Most High. Let's go back in. So he said, tinkling feet, right? Of course, we know the feet is, it says the regal, the walking used, it says step by euphemism and pudenda. Okay, all right. I don't get too deep in that. All right. Therefore, here's what the Most High judgment is. He said, therefore, because of this, Yah will smite with scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion. So that would explain why a lot of Israelite women have hair loss from a prophetic judgment, right? When you have been indoctrinated and you have been a usurper, and the sad part about it is many Israelite women don't see that they have, the system that we're under have forced us to be usurpers over the man that's in our life. We don't see it that way. We think the man is being sensitive or picky or whatever. But the reality of the matter is that Western way of thinking has caused our wives to be dominant in the home, to cause shipwreck, and the children can see that. So sometimes the children may grow up and hate that mother because of how she handles the father, or they might grow up being walking over top of the father, and then they grow up and they get a man in their life and they walk over top of the man like their mama walked over their father. So it's a generational thing, a curse. Okay, let's go back in. He says that Yah will smite the scab, the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yah will discover their secret parts, right? He's going to expose. Let's see. That word there is to root, to be causatively to make bare, hence to empty, pour out, demolish. Right? So that's what the Most High is doing through the prophetic judgment of the daughters of Israel. He says, and I will discover their secret. In that day, right, Yah will take away the bravery of the tinkling ornaments about their feet and their calls. Okay, what's this word calls here? Okay, their interweaving or netting for the hair. How about that? And he says, and their round tires. What's the round tires? Okay, a pendant for the neck. Oh my, this is really deep. And he says, a pendant, the round tires like the moon, right? The chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, right? The bonnets and the ornaments of the legs and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings and the nose jewels, changeable suits of apparel and mantles and wimples and crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and veils. And it shall come to pass, the Most High said, instead of sweet smell, there shall be a stink, and instead of girdle, a rent. So instead of girdle, what's this one here? Girdle is belt. Okay, so instead of a belt, it's going to be what? This is rent. This is a rope. Okay. And instead of a well-set hair, baldness. So the bald, now I'm going to amplify this so you can actually see what's going on, right? What causes baldness more than stress? Right? When a mother is a female who is a woman, a wife, mother, is not supposed to be stressed about raising her children, right? So when the mother is stressed, that in turn brings on not only baldness, but it brings on sickness. They don't know all the intricate details about cancer. I'm inclined to believe that cancer is heavy, induced by stress. Okay. All right, let's go back on. All right, now. So baldness instead of stomacher, and girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. So let's back up here and say, so the girdle and rent instead of the well set. Let me back up for a second. Where was I at? Okay, what was this girdle? Was it? Yeah, girdle. Okay, let me back up. There's so much here in this verse. I lost my place. Okay, so let's read this again. 24. Instead of sweet smell, there shall be stench or stink, right? Okay, melting, that is putridity, rottenness, right? And instead of girdle, rent. So that was the one I looked up. Rent was a rope. So instead of a belt, a rope. That's what it was. Stench. Instead of a girdle, instead of a belt, a rope. Instead of well-set hair, right? A baldness, right? So that word baldness is korka, to be bald, lose the hair, right? Hair loss, right? It's kind of like what they call that terminology, alopecia. I don't know the name of it, where women lose their hair, what Jada Pinkett has, right? It's all part of prophecy. Okay, let's go. He said, instead of well said hair, baldness, and instead of stomacher, girding, instead of stomacher. Okay, stomacher is what? Mantle. It says mantle for the holidays instead of stomacher, girding of sackcloth. Okay, we know what sackcloth is, but it says here mesh run through a coarse loose cloth sackling, right? Sackcloth and ashes, right? Okay. Instead of girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty, right? So that burning is the word what? Brand or scar, right? So instead of that, he says, thy men shall fall. So because the daughter's being haughty, right? This is what happens. This is what's going to happen to the men, right? All right. Thy men, and the word for men is what? The adult. Full length by implication, a man only in plural. Okay. So it says math. That's the word, the Hebrew word math. Thy adult. Okay, elderly men, in other words. Thy men shall fall by the sword. Right? Now, ye shall fall by the edge of the sword. See, when you as the head of your house, the man, you allow the house to be out of order, you are allowing yourself to be taken by the sword, as it says, to fall by the sword. In other words, death, right? The men shall fall by the sword, and the mighty men in war, right? Her gates shall lament. Her gates shall lament and mourn, and she, being desolate, shall sit upon the ground, right? So that's what's going to happen. So now, if you go to the next chapter, which I'm not going to do that, but if you go to the next chapter, it shows it's going to be a shortage of men because as a result of the daughters of Israel being haughty, right? The men are becoming extinct. That's why we have a lot of Israelite sisters going into other ethnic groups, because we see it happening now. The men are becoming extinct. Okay. Now, as I close, now, what brought about this video was that word woman, Isha Nashiym. And now what I'm going to show you something, and then I'm going to wrap this video up. Okay, what I have here is a Strong's Concordance. This is, I had this for years. As a matter of fact, this was a present to my mother, but she didn't have any interest in using this. I brought her this so she could kind of study along with me, so she could see where I was coming from in terms of my biblical knowledge and the scriptures. So this here is, I don't know if it's still in print or not, but this is Nelson's Super Value Series, the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible, right? Okay. It was probably like $20 back then. I had it for about almost 30 years now. Okay, and it's still in this condition because I gave it to my mom brand new, and only wear and tear came out of it was the wear and tear that I put on it. But anyway, so if you go to the section in the back, got some bookmarks here. If you go to the section in the back, I want to go to the section under woman, right? So woman, if you go to woman, okay, I'm going to show you something. Okay. And anybody can do this, because this is not, you don't have to be a doctor of divinity to do this. So what I want to show you is this word woman right here. See what my finger is right here? It says woman, right? So everywhere you see woman in here, I'm going to get in here so you can see. It has Strong's number 802, right? So I highlighted the ones that have a different number. this one here, Leviticus 15:33, says 53:47, right? On this side, same thing, 802, right? So, and then here you got, and I'm talking about in the Tanakh, the ends right here, Matthew's. That's where it starts in the Greek. But in the Hebrew, you see 53. This is 53:47. So that's so far we saw where woman was translated generally as 802, but 3 different times in two other words, 53:47 and 52:91, right? 53:47 and 52:91. 53:47, right? So that's Leviticus 15, and then Ruth 4 and 12, and then Jeremiah 31 and 22, right? So those are the 3 times woman was translated using a different word. But if you look at this word 802, so if you go back in the back, this is how you use this. This is, you go back to this dictionary, back to the dictionary side. This is the concordance side. It tells you every biblical word, every word in the Bible, right? It gives you the number of what was there, what they used, their system that they used to translate. Now, if you go to 802, right? So you go here to the Hebrews, you stick in the Hebrew, you go right at the beginning of this, right? Where you got, this is the Hebrew Bible, Strong's Concise Dictionary of the Hebrew Bible with the renderings in the King James Version, right? And this one was published in 1995. Thomas Nelson publishes, right? So in the Hebrew, right? So that's in the beginning. And now at the end of that, you have Greek, right? We're not dealing with the Greek, we're dealing with the Hebrew, okay? So if you go to 802, you'll see the word that they use for woman. So you go to 802. Now, I don't have a holiday because I didn't get this far. I was looking at my notes. Okay, so here you go. Okay. It says Ishsha, feminine of 36 of 582, right? So that's Ishsha, right? Okay. And Isha Nashiym, there it is right there. Isha Nashiym, a woman used in wide sense, right? Of 582, and it says adulteress, each, every, female, many, none, one, together, wife, woman. Okay. All right. So now, everywhere where we see that woman, if you go back here, it's referencing to a woman that has a husband, right? Okay. It's making reference to a woman that has a husband, right? Okay. And just as we use in the lesson on the Shabbat, we read the lesson where we showed you male and female, right? Okay, so let's go back over here. Okay, now you go to Genesis, okay? Oh, I don't want to go there. Right here. Okay, so we go to Genesis 3. Okay, what am I messing up here? Genesis 3. Okay. Okay, let's see. No, it's not 3. Hold on a second. I got to find it. Okay, so it's Genesis 1 and 27. It says, so he made them in his image. He made them what? Male, which was Zakar, right? And he made them female, which was Neqebah, right? Female. Not woman, but female. So when she was made a female, but when she became his wife, she became woman, right? Okay. All right. Now, as I close, I want to show you this here. So female, right? was translated woman using 802 two times, right? So male and female, that was the one we just read, Genesis 1:27. And then it says, now here we see 802 in Genesis 7:2. He's making reference to animals by sevens, male and his female, right? That's 802. Okay. So those two times we see female translated Isha Nashiym, but not with reference to, right? So we can go and look further into it and look at each instance, because I haven't done that. So it still stands a possibility. But my guess is that everywhere you see that, for most of the examples that we've seen thus far, whenever you see that word Isha Nashiym, is talking about a married woman, not a single woman. Okay, so from our current climate that we're in, yes, by definition, by the English definition, a woman is a female. It's the same thing. But by the Hebrew standpoint, Isha Nashiym is not a Neqebah. A Neqebah, all Neqebahs are not Ish and Nashiym. So that was the point I was making when I said woman. I'm not talking about the English definition. I'm talking about the wife. So from a technical standpoint, right, really the word should be, everywhere we see woman, Isha Nashiym is talking about wife, not talking about a female, right? So if we want to be correct in the Hebrew mindset, we should change the word and not say woman, but say wife, because that's what it's talking about, not a female who doesn't have a head covering or a husband, right? So with that said, hopefully you got something out of this. If there anybody have any questions or comments, please feel free to come at me. I'm gonna say this I'm gonna repeat myself. I don't tolerate disrespect. If a person want to be disrespectful towards me because they disagree, that's going to end the conversation, because I don't argue with people. Okay. If you have a valid argument and you want to present some things to me, I'm open to that. But if you can come at me and you want to fight and kick at me and call me this, that, and the other, and say that I'm not anointed of Yah because I'll hold this position. And like I said, of all Hebrew Israelite, Maureen, I am one of the most that have upheld the daughters of Israel in this walk. I fought for the sisters, and I've seen some sisters that I fought for turn their back on me. Okay, so I learned my lesson through that. So if you watch this video, this far, you made it to this end, and you disagree with what I presented, then hey, praise Yah, continue along in where you are in your belief, right? No love lost. Don't X me out because you disagree with my position on this. But I provided to you proof from the scriptural dynamic and from the etymology of the word that the woman, all English-speaking women are not wives or Isha Nashiym. Right? That should be clear. But you could be a Neqebah, but you not necessarily an Isha Nashiym, which is the actual equivalent of the English woman. Okay? With that said, shalom, shalom, shalom.